Hello everybody and welcome back to some Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, where today I am going to show you how I made everybody a fool in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 with some modding. And honestly, I'm going to try to get everyone else more involved in modding with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 because there are some videos out there to show some tutorials here and there, but there's not a wealth of information out there. So I'm going to try to remedy that with my own video that kind of helps out for the basic modding, trying to get people involved with the basic stuff. This is going to be a little bit longer video, but try to follow the steps here and there. I have some other videos I recommend in the front to take a look at and after if you want to get more involved. But today we're going to show you how to make everybody into a jester outfit. Also, we're going to show you how to give weapons to people if you want. We're going to do the basic setups, and then from there you just keep trying to explore and figure out how to do more mods here and there. We're just going to try to get you involved as best as we can. And once you kind of learn the basics, you can kind of try to do other things, but just know that you might screw things up kind of like this. I am not the best at this at all, and I still mess things up. I don't know how everything works, but it is still quite fun to kind of get started with the basic tools and kind of get through the basic roadblocks of how to do modding. So don't be afraid if you mess things up, ask questions and do different things, but let's get into doing some mods.
I fucked everything up.
Well, then let's get right into it. So you want to learn how to mod. So I put in the description a link to some other videos that show you how to download all the different tools and kind of sync all the files up. You can take a look at that. This is kind of going over to, after you got the first step, how to use the software, specifically SMID, and kind of reading XML files, and how can you start off using or making new mods yourself. So starting off, I use Steam. If you don't use Steam for this Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, it might be a little bit different, but anyways, what you want to do on your Steam profile, you want to make sure you have tools selected. If you don't have tools selected, you won't see the Kingdom Come Deliverance modding tools, so make sure to have that selected there. And what you want to do is that I always like to just go here, go manage, and browse local files. And once you browse local files, you'll see here is that you should have like this kind of setup going on here. And you have your mods, outputs, data, and all that. What we're going to do is that we're going to use SMID. So go into SMID, should be like a little anvil kind of thing. Double click on that thing. Let it load up. It takes a little time to load up, and what you'll end up with is something like this, a whole lot of information all around, and you're kind of like, oh my god. Don't worry, there's a lot going on and we'll get through it. So let's start off with the most important part. So this is just loading up the software. Now to appropriately use it, to actually make it worthwhile, is that we got to set up a mod folder for it. We're going to go back to our folder that we had open here. We're just going to go back a couple steps. We're just going to kcd2 mod folder. Go out here. You should have mods set up in here, and you see I made a lot of different mods here. Let's start off with making people into a jester outfit, if we want to say. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a new mod folder. I'm just going to call, I'm going to do jester beggars. All right, and the reason why, jester beggars would be a good one. All right, I've made what's important to have in here. It's empty right now, but what's important to have in there is that I'm just going to steal one of these other files. You need to make a mod manifest file here. All this is a text document, so I'm just going to go back here. I copy and paste. You could just always say new, text document if you need to, and that'll work out too. Whatever works out better for you, that's perfectly fine. You can also steal mod manifests off other mods that you made or other people made. You can just download them from Nexus and take them, whatever's easier for you. But I'm just going to use this one because that'll work out. The main part that you want to do on these mod manifests is that you want to keep them the same name as possible. So what we named this is Jesters, Beggars, or whatever else. So I'm going to name this exactly the same thing. And the one thing from here is that the name has to stay exactly the same as the folder, and they all have to be lowercase if you can keep it like that to avoid any errors. So beggars, and then the main name right here, where you have the main name of the mod right there. I usually just keep it the same, but you can change it to different things. But just in the case of paranoia, let's just keep it the same right here. So we can paste, that's exactly the same. The author, of course, it's myself. You can name it yourself there too. You could change this in between the lines. The version number right here, I usually just use 2.asterisk or purity, whatever you want to say. And the point is, from what I remember reading on other tutorials where people told me, is that the asterisk there is just, you have the 2 point whatever it is, but the asterisk is just saying it works 2 point whatever else and beyond. So I usually just put the asterisk there because for simple mods like this, it shouldn't conflict with any newer patches that are coming out. If you put 2.11 or something like that, it would only work with version 2.11 or whatever else. But for the sake of, you know, keeping things simple, I would just keep it like that. That's usually how I've been working. I could be wrong. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. I'm still kind of new on that. We're just going to save that. We're going to call these jester beggars and stuff like that. Say save, exit out of that. We're done. Let's go make a new folder, call it data, and we'll be good. Now that we have the folder set up there, jester beggars and all that, so it's inside the mod folders right here with all my other mods that I've been working on. But anyways, we go back to the SMID folder, and what we need to do is that we need to use the open folder before we do anything else. We gotta tell the program where all this data is going to be saved and going through. So we're going to open database. You're just going to go to the root directory and say select. And what it should go, if you have it downloaded on Steam, it should install into this main folder right here for KCD2 mods. Just let it install in the main folder where all the other games are at. So where's KCD2 mods? There you go. It's right there. It should auto select there for it. So mine's just in here, programs, you know, C drive, program, Steam apps, common, and it should be within here. Not Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, KCD2 mods. It's saved completely differently. So go ahead and select that. And again, this is important too. You're not done quite yet. What you want to do is that you want to select the folder that the mod's going into. So it is going to go into, what do we say, jester beggars or whatever else. So jester beggars. And now you want to open it, because if you don't have it selected there, it's going to save somewhere else, or it's not going to save at all, and it's completely weird. I always say load from packs and be good. If everything's synced up, this should work out perfectly fine. Say open. It's going to take a little time for it to load up, so give it a second or whatever else like before. And voila, it is back. So let's go over some of the basics off of here. All we're going to be doing in this tutorial is that I'm going to just show you how to make somebody into a jester, and we'll do it from there. And maybe we'll also show how to put weapons on people. But anyways, let's do this. So we're going to start with like the different things they have here. So they have armor designs of people, which is pretty useful. So they'll have like the, you know, different people that you have here. Let's delete that. I have the, you know, kind of setting. But anyways, they'll have the different armor designs. So, you know, you have Oslitz, you have Berghoff, he has his coat. They tell you exactly the different armors they have, the gloves. You could change his rings, you can change his necklace, you could change his collars or whatever you want. You could put him in anything you want, okay? So you could do that with you could do that with everybody. You could change anything you want and make them wear just about anything, except like men can't wear dresses unless you change something about it. There's people with specialized mods that are on Nexus that's done the blender work to do that. You can't put women in men's clothes. You have to do the blender work to make it work. So don't try to do that, but you could change any men into any of the men's clothes, any women to any of the women's clothes, and that vice versa. So watch out for that. But anyways, so that works out. You can see what everybody wears, Hanish and all that. Very good, right? Inventory design is actually pretty cool too. This is a pretty good one if you want. So if you get all the different armor slots that are on people, it doesn't say what's on them, but that's like, there's a different place to set that up. So this is kind of like the general inventory of where they're being dragged onto. So for example, like, you know, it's say there's shops or whatever else. You could say, if you go to shop, you can see what's inside the inventory shops or what they're going to sell. They sell beer, they sell mead, they sell bacon, they sell all that stuff. So whatever that hop stand is, this is what they're selling. They tell you exactly how much they're selling. If you want to increase the amount, you can. So this is actually a pretty useful thing if we want to, like, if we found our favorite shop and we want to change it. Weapon design is another good one we can go into. This is just going to, like, what type of weapons and stuff that people are using. Like Godwin has this certain, you know, common sword. You can give him a gun if you want, or you can give him a different sword. He uses just about anything, so that is another possibility. But today, let's keep it simple. Let's start off, we were doing this jester beggars and stuff like that. So let's go put some jester outfit on some beggars. So what we're going to do is that you want to go back to armor design, and then what you want to do, so you got all these different people here. Now, luckily, we know beggars, what they're named. They're just named beggars. We just go beggars, whatever else. So we got beggar monks, we got beggars in the street, we got all these different type of people, right? We're gonna put jester outfits on all these people. So now there's multiple different ways you can do it, and the easiest way you can kind of do, if you want to just learn tutorial wise, is that you can just take this outfit off and whatever else, and you can just say screw that. There it goes. You get all this stuff off, right? So there you go. So you can make them naked by just doing that. And anytime you make a change, you're going to see that there's a little star right there. That means a change has been made. Now, the question is that what is the jester outfit? You can see that there's no jester outfit whatsoever, right? So technically, that's true. So what you can do instead, there's a really good site for this. If you go to Inar right here, you could see that this actually has just about everything, all the different items in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. It's a really good webpage, and I highly recommend it. So let's go to Jester, right? So we go there, we can say Jester Disguise, like that. We just type that in, and it will give us all the different colors. And what's the best part is that it'll give us the item code on here down below. So it'll say, you know, what we're after right here. It should be like Coat 06 M02C. Like, this is like the inter-console commands, but we're interested in this part right here. This part is actually what we're after, because no matter what, if we change it to, let's say we change it to green and red, it's going to change it there. Now it's going to say Coat 0605. It's just the identification of the item. So we're going to go to 02. We just want to put a jester coat on him. So we could just say we're going to look for Coat 0602, I believe. I always forget, but anyways, M2. And we're also going to just give him some pants because we can. And then we're just going to go tight hose. And these are different pants you have. They don't really, you know, let's say we just give them a red and green. Red, green, whatever, striped. And then what we're looking for is hose 02 pattern M1B. You know, this is the ad sheet. That's a console item, but this is like, we're not doing that. We're doing that. So hose joined 02 pattern 1. Okay. Hose join 02 pattern 1. And we just go for shoes. And they have a lot of different shoes. I'm going to go for white shoes because I can. And we just want boot ankles 065. But anyway, you can change all these, whatever. You can put them in armor if you want or anything else. But 0605. There you go. Boot ankles there. So we're just going to keep it simple there. Beggars are going to be standard, and that works out. So now we got one beggar done. What we're going to do is that we're going to just save it how it is. And, you know, since we got one person down, we can go through here and just redo all these exactly the same. So typically, you can see there, he has an ID number. You can change the conditions and variations, but let's not get into that. You can play around with that when you want to. We're just trying to get success. The ID number is connected to this beggar. That's connected to this monk. Make sure you have it like that. So let's go ahead and just save it right here, because now you can see that, you know, this is the root system that's connected there. The mod is still jester beggars and stuff like that, but we want to get more of these beggars connected at the same time, because we want to do all the beggars, and that's a lot of beggars that we want to do. So let's see what we can do off of here. Go ahead and save. Yeah, it always takes a little while to save, so don't worry. But yeah, so it should save, and what's going to happen is that now we go back to the folder. You can see here that now it creates a pathway for us. So now it goes jester beggars. It made data. We didn't make libs. We didn't make tables. We didn't make items. So the SMID program does all that work for you. And then it generates an XML file right here. So you can open this up, and you can see is that now the beggar, you know, is set on here, because this ID number is exactly this. Clothing preset number is that. Beggar, monk, and all that. So this is clothing preset ID is that. Now let's say if we want to do all the other beggars here. Now this is where it gets a little tricky. So this is where you're going to have to learn how to kind of do a little XML coding and stuff like that. If you just want to do one person, that's fine. If you want to start doing more people, it's a little different. Now you can change this either on Notepad, which is great, but I would highly recommend using Virtual Studios. It might take a little time loading it up and that stuff. Virtual Studios is just a little bit easier just because of they have the color scheme variations, and you kind of figure out all the different stuff that goes on. But anyways, let's do this. So what I found that usually is pretty helpful is that this has been changed, but now this needs to be changed all the way through. So let's say if we want to change all these people, we want to change all their clothes, so all the beggars are in jester outfits. So the one thing is that the game is going to save no matter what. So I'm just going to, you know, we just want to get it to where it's a little yellow there. And so I'm just going to change one item all the way through. This is like the easiest way to kind of go about it. So basically, if you want to change anything off the beggar, just change one item, do this, and I'm just going to go all the way down. So you don't have to change all of them, but I'll show you on the XML file the easiest way. So now that we got all the different people set up on this. Let's save it again. It's going to save under the same mod file and all that. So go give it some time. So let's go save. So now we go back to the folder that we had. We can see back here in data, it's going to do all the hard work for us. SMID is a wonderful program for doing all the hard lifting off of here. Open that file. Now you can see it added all this stuff in there, which is great. Now it doesn't have the items we want, but the most important thing is that it added in all the ID numbers. Now we don't have to load in all these ID numbers, the names, or anything else like that. We don't have to do any of that, okay? We're trying to keep this simple as possible. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to edit this slightly. This is what part of the tutorial is going to work with. We're just going to open this up. So again, I like to use Virtual Studio Code. Open Virtual Studio Code up. And what we're going to go for is that we're going to go for the very first beggar that we had. Beggar 1 has that, and that works out. So what I like to do usually is just copy these files right here that it has there, because this is all like the jester outfit. Because remember, we did beggar 1, the first one, and he has all the jester outfits on him and stuff like that. And you can double check these codes or whatever else. So there's 2 different codes. I know in a NAR they kind of give you the so NAR is a really good website for giving you like the boot ankles. They don't give you the actual, was the ID numbers. There's another wonderful website to look for. I'll link this one too. I call it like Raider Kings or whatever else. So this is really good where it gives you all the proper command codes that you have off of here. So we go down to their, I don't care about dice, I care about clothing. So here in the clothing, we go to Jester out here, and you can see here, they give you the ID number, and they also give you the boot ankles. They don't give you the pictures, which is disappointing. That's the downside with the Raider King site. But they give you the ID number, which I wish the Nari site will give you the ID number, but they don't, which is annoying. It's like, I'm trying to do this. But anyways, boot ankles 0605. There you go. And this is the ID number that we're looking for. So 4F, 4D. We can look on here back into their virtual studios. 4F, 4D. So this right here is the shoes and all that. So we could tell this is the correct one. So anyways, but if you ever need those codes, that's where they're at. But anyways, what I'm going to do now is that I'm just going to copy and paste all these different, this outfit all over everybody's other outfit. So we're just going to go straight down the line. We'll make everybody the same. We can always change it up slightly if we have the different codes like that. We'll just go paste. I'm just going to copy and paste that into everybody. And I would highly recommend just having it, all set up. Like what I also do have set up to on here, I kind of made a different codes right here for everybody. So if I need copy and paste kind of thing, that's what I did. So I know what colors there are and everything else, but that's a whole different point. So cancel that. But anyways, just go down the line and just do that. And now, if your mod doesn't work once it loads up, it might give you a little error. And that might be because you just copy and paste into the wrong area or something like that. So double check that. Always start off small and then go bigger as you go along. So this is kind of just like, hey, how does things work? This is kind of like what we do. And there we go. The last one's in place. So we got everybody all the same. Everything works the same. You can kind of go back up and down here, and it looks all pretty good. So now all we want to do is just say save. Save, and that's good. And what you can do too is that double click on this. As long as it shows up like this and doesn't give you error, you probably did things pretty well. If you did do an error, there's a lot of things you could have done wrong. The main part that I found that is an issue, watch out how things are framed. This is why SMID so powerful. Like, for example, in gender or whatever else, they say male with a capital M. If you have a lowercase m, it'll be an error. If you put beggars right here, if you try changing a name, there's a lot of errors if you mess with any of these things right here. Be careful with that right now, and there's a lot of things to learn off of there. But if it comes out like this, you did pretty good. All right. Now that we got that set up, we're going to go back to Jester Beggars and stuff like that. And we got to restack all these files in here. Because right now, the game doesn't read, the mods don't read how this works out like this. It reads it in what they call packs, PAK. So KCD, so again, this is found in the other video right here, which you can find that. But you want to look for KCD Pack Builder. I believe this is in the tools as well. But just open this up. And you don't really have to do anything with it. I just drag and drop your folder in there, And what's it going to do? It's going to make a pack right instantly. And so inside the pack, you can open it in zip if you want, open archive, and you can see that it's packed exactly how it was. This is how the game reads it. It likes it like this. It doesn't like it not in a pack. So you got to do that. We're going to rename this as Jester Beggars. Make sure it's named the same, lowercase and all that way. And I'm just going to put these into a new mod folder, if that makes sense. You can't just copy and paste the mod folder over. Don't do that. So I'm going to copy and paste these because I'm going to need them. And then what we're going to do is that the easiest thing I find is that I usually just go back to the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 on Steam, right click on that, and then just say manage, browse local files, and then in here, if you used mods before, this is where your Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 game is actually at. If you used mods before, you should have a mod folder in there. As you can see, I have a mod folder in there. And I'm just going to do a new folder, and we're going to rename it exactly what we did before. Jester's Beggars, right? Double check the name on there too, but I'm just going to paste the files inside there. Files go inside, save folder, just call that data, drag the pack in there, and that's all you have to do. And everything's set in there. And just double check that your files do match up how they're supposed to be. We called it Jester Beggars. See, I already messed up there. Change that name back. I don't know how important that name is supposed to be exactly the same, but do not tempt fate for your first time through here. Jester Beggars, everything works out. Yep, Jesters and Beggars. See, actually, I did do it right the first time. So we're going to test out our mod now. So all you're going to do, open up your Kingdom Come Deliverance game and see if it works out. Like, I'm just going to load into somewhere in Kotkr, and we're going to find out all the different beggars in Kotkr. Yeah, there we go. We loaded up in Kotkr, and then now we just got to find the beggars. And as you can see, there you go. There's a beggar right there. He's in the red and white outfit, and he's having a great time. So there, like, we could see that our mod has started working. I kind of turned off the mod so not everybody's in their jester outfit, so we just did that one part. And the main part, like I said, if you want to see if things are working, stick with people that you can find out in the wild. So all the beggars are now a bunch of jesters. Hey! Whatever. Come here, buddy.
You want me to do the same to you?
Congratulations, you put every beggar into a jester outfit. And that is your first test to seeing how SMID can work for you for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 modding. That is kind of like the base model that you want. Once you start figuring that stuff out and stuff works out, I think you'll be kind of going a little bit better. But now let's give you a little bonus, and let's try to make this work out. Let's see if you want to give different weapons to different people and see what happens, okay? I have a particular weapon that I want to give everybody out here. So I'm going to go back to Raider King right here because I want the ID number. That'll probably work out. What I do want, the St. Anthony Standard. I'm going to go with the polearm because I think this is probably the one I want. The standard, there's flag, and there's this. Let's go for this, okay? So what we're going to do is that we're going to try to mess with the beggars and mess with their inventory and stuff like that. So we're going to go to weapon design here. What we want to do is that we can see all the different weapon presets they have here. We're just going to generate a new weapon preset. You can technically, mess with anybody else's weapons. You can give them anything you want. So like a dual longsword, you could change that to a gun or whatever else you want. But that'll take too long. That's not what we're here for. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to make, somebody else. Let's start a new one. We'll just make a new preset. We're just going to call this. It'll make its own configuration and everything else. And we're going to do this in the same mod right here, mod Jester Beggars and stuff like that. Hopefully it doesn't mess it up, but we'll see. We're just going to call this St. Anthony Beggar. There we go. St. Anthony Beggar, all right? And it gets made. St. Anthony Beggar, you can tell that's a new one. And what we're going to do is that I believe it's in the oversize thing. And what we're going to do is that we're going to give him a polearm. And I believe this is what it's called. The Savani Tawny, whatever it is, we'll give that. I believe that's where it's on. And we'll put that in the oversized arm off of there. So that'll work out. Because, this is the off arm and stuff like that. That's a different thing. That's not what we want. These are like range weapons on that arm. Primary hand, that's like These are all the other stuff. So this is not what we want to do. It doesn't exist in here. It exists, the pole arms exist on there. If you're looking for other sabers or anything else that exists on that arm, we're going to keep them like that, okay? The beggars are going to have it, they're oversized. They should put it on their back, hopefully, but who knows. But anyways, St. Anthony Beggar Standard. We'll give that to them. And then, so that's important. So that's saved right there, all right? And then what we're going to do is that we're going to go over to the same inventory design. So go over to inventory design. And over here, it's always going to show up all the way on the left of whatever you do. So what we're going to do is that we're going to look for the inventory for beggars, right? So there we go. So we got all the different beggars. All we care about is the beggar monks right here. So the closed better monks, but we want to deal with their inventory. So right now, they don't have any inventory. They don't have any weapon inventories. You can tell the weapon inventories have the different symbols here. You can see it's like the sword with the shields. That's what it stands for. So what we're going to do is that we're just going to drag our St. Anthony Beggar right on over to the beggar right here, the beggar monks. And then whatever the beggar monks are, they'll just add on to here and it'd be totally fine. Same thing with the beggar monks male. Any of them that are beggar monks male are going to get this. We don't have to do this for every single one. They're just going to get that preset and it'll work perfectly fine. They have the clothing preset, but we don't want to change their clothes. Like, this is just a variation of clothing that they have. So I want to say this is a whole different thing. If you want to make all the beggars the same, you can always change their presets like that, but that's a whole different thing. Their inventories, this is what they have, pockets or whatever else, and all that. So what we want to do is just give them weapons like that, and then all we want to do is just say save. It'll take a little time to save there. Alright, cool. So it's saved there, and since we saved it in the exact same files like that, all we're going to do is that we're going to go back to our folders that we still have open. So we're going to go back to our Just a Beggar mod right here. This is where the KCD2 mod folder, mods and stuff like that. This is where the SMID lives in here. So if we check this, I'm just going to delete that. That's the old one. We're just going to save it exactly the same. But if we go through the files and items, you can see now that the things have changed here. They added in different items. So they added in weapon presets. So the weapon presets being added in. There's St. Anthony Beggar. This is exactly the ID number that is for it, and it's being added into the game. And this is the inventory preset, and it's changing all the different presets of the beggars or whatever else they have to include the St. Anthony Beggar standard like that. It's not changing the clothing or anything else like that. It's just changing that variation. So, like I said, SMID does it very well. You don't have to make the new ones. You could technically make these folders or make these inventory presets or anything else you want here, but this is kind of like the lazy man's setup to make sure the syntax works and all that. So this is why I like using the SMID. But now what we do, we got to go back to Jester Beggars. We got to do this all over again with the KCD pack builder like this. Say data, drag, and we're just going to say rename back to Jesters and Beggars, and like that. So we got the Jester and Beggars pack. We just kept it the same. Now they're with weapons. I'm just going to copy that. And since it's already inside my other folder, not that one, since it's already inside my other folder where Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 lives at, where it's actually a Steam one, we're going to Jester Beggars, data, and then this is the old one. We're just going to say delete. We're going to paste, and then we can open this up to make sure this is the right one. And libs, tables, items, and now you can see that inventory presets. So now everything's in there. Let's go back to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and see if it works. So go ahead and load up the game and check out again. Let's go see if we can find some beggars. You know when something messed up right there. So we can see that. So the outfit's still working, but sometimes they just don't wear weapons, so you gotta watch out for that. So we're just going to work on this guy. Come here, buddy. And this is just all part of like the modding kind of deal. Like sometimes stuff works out, sometimes it doesn't. So he does have the St. Anthony standard on him, so it did work out. Just beggars don't usually use weapons per se, so they're kind of not very combat attuned on there. So let's go down here. Give me the St. Anthony standard. I just stole the St. Anthony standard. That was a piece of crap. That's fine. Go back through here, and we'll just keep beating people down with it. Come here, Henry. Go find the person.
Help out a poor beggar.
Yeah, use your weapon, buddy. No, see, they just don't use weapons at all. They just kind of, you know, sit here. No, you don't. Oh, he's pulling out the standard. Okay, there he goes. He does use it eventually. Come here, buddy. You want to fight me? So they do use the standard. Okay. Oh, hey, whoa. I'm getting my butt kicked by this.
No,
Hey.
no, I give up. Show your stuff.
Yeah, whatever, buddy. I'm trying to fight with this guy. I have a terrible polearm weapon. Oh, ow. Good job, Mutt. So really, you know, it's good to see. So these beggars do actually use it. And if you get them to, you know, they have the weapon and everything else. And you give the weapon to everybody else, it starts to become a little bit more complicated. But that's the whole thing. When you're going through the different mods, you just kind of have to, like, you know, play around with it. So he got beaten by this thing, the St. Anthony's standard, which is fantastic. But the main part is that when you're doing the modding, it's a little bit tough. It'll take a little time. Don't be afraid to ask questions around to people and see what can happen, because the problem with this is that there's a lot of little things that can go wrong, and hopefully this mod or this video kind of showed you what's possible out there, just in the basic starting out kind of deal. So
Why are you right in their head?
yeah, there you go. Come here, buddy.
Watch it with that weapon. You hit me.
Yeah, take out your weapon. See, he has one too. Hopefully you enjoyed that. We'll see what goes on, but yeah, hopefully this starts off your modding, you know, ability. So, or starts off your modding journey. Start simple, change people's clothes, then you can add weapons to people and then go from there and keep learning how to do this stuff. So it's not easy. It'll take some time, but once you start getting there, you can change a lot of different things and learn how the game works out. I'm hopefully to do some of these more tutorials as I kind of learn more stuff as I go along, but you know, there's still changing the scripts. There's still changing how people say different things, or where they're arranged in different places, or add things onto the map. That's way beyond that. We're just start off baby steps here, and this is where you kind of need to start off. Just start off somewhere small, and then you go from big once you start understanding more stuff here and there. But anyways, I hope this was useful, and I hope to see more mods coming out there. And I'll leave in the description different Discords, different places you can go that actually do a little modding, and hopefully, you know, give them a little love and stuff like that. So anyways, I hope this was useful, and I hope to see you around next time. Have a good one, and goodbye. Oh, shit. Yeah, there you go. Blowing.
Stop that right now.
Are you yanking my pizzle?
Oh,